welcome back to Trash Talkin.
I'm Reg.
I'm E, and we are going into Week 12 of the weirdest NFL season I've ever encountered in my life. Good teams that we thought were really good are not that good. Jets, Cowboys. Teams that we didn't think were good at all are the Broncos, and they're looking good. So we got a lot to talk about because everything seems to be falling apart now in Week 12 too.
A lot of parity in the NFL, which is what they want. And
storylines.
Again, teams that surprising, like Pittsburgh beating Baltimore. I mean, couple good games last week. I feel sorry for Joe Burrow. The guy's doing everything. He could be the first MVP with 7 wins.
I know. He should. And all these games, too, like 2 Ravens games, a Chargers game, or games where they could have won. And then you got Evan McPherson, who you just paid, who misses a field goal at the end. So it's been a really weird couple weeks. And refs, and it's just been really weird, but it's been fun. And that's why football, even though when your team stinks, like mine this year, it's still fun to watch. Except if you're watching Cooper Rush in prime time, but everything else is fun to watch.
That's a lot of fun to watch.
You gotta
next week apparently.
Well, I mean,
Trey's not ready. He's only had 4 years off.
Taking it going from watching Cooper Rush on Sunday night to watching Herbert and Burrow Monday night, it's got to be one of the most surreal things I've ever experienced in my life. It was so much fun. It felt great.
What more can happen to Dallas? You
lot.
You got the owner, who's an idiot. You lose your star quarterback. You're losing games.
You lost half the defense over the years.
Half the defense. The stadium's falling apart.
Nobody's even in the stadium.
Imagine if somebody they landed beside people.
Yeah.
We're this deep into the season for the Cowboys, so I really feel bad for Mike McCarthy, and I hate him. But I so feel bad for him.
There's only one other thing that can happen to you guys is that a couple of cheerleaders were caught at Puff Daddy. That's the only other thing that can happen that could top off what's happened to the Cowboys.
I'm sure Jerry and Pete are your friends. I'm not gonna lie.
Jake Paul's got more wins.
I know.
At AT&T.
Somehow that fight was more entertaining than any
sad.
game.
It wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Sad.
I mean, we got to see Mike Tyson up close and personal. Backstage, he let everything hang out.
Oh, we got to see it all.
We
hold his package, everything.
Mike Tyson let his butt right out backstage in an interview with his son.
Jake Paul won, and now he said he wants to challenge Betty White.
No.
He's going a little older.
Jake Paul's looking for anybody. Jake Paul's looking for anybody who hasn't been in the front.
Just to make some money.
All right, we're going to start off with the only team that's making it fun to be a Cowboys fan. We're going to talk about the Jets. The Jets are about to be without Aaron Rodgers next year. Woody Johnson's about to not be the owner next year because he'll be an ambassador. So let's talk about the Jets and their complete collapse this year.
Well, there's something about that organization that just when you think they're there, other than having Rex Ryan there for a few years, they've done nothing.
Well, yeah,
they had a few good teams. And again, Aaron Rodgers has been horrible. He's not going to get better next year. He looks slower. They have the tools on offense and defense to be a very good team. They don't have kickers, but to me, the defense has let them down more than anything. Like last week, they had a 5-point lead against Indy. That's all they had to do was stop them in the last couple of minutes. They let Indy drive all the way down the field, score, and take the lead. Like I just don't understand that defense. They got a lot of stars on that team. 2 great running backs. Now they got receivers. There's something seriously wrong. They just don't know how to win.
Yeah.
The owner's an idiot.
He'll be gone.
It's a tough place to play, New York. And again, if they're smart, they move on from Rodgers this year. I don't think he can go next year with him. He's only going to get sacked more. It doesn't matter. They've done everything he wanted. He's got people fired. I mean, it seems like
he's the only one who's immune, it seems.
Yeah, it just seems like they kind of quit after Salah left. Yeah. It seems like they've gone downhill, and this was the year for them. In the AFC, 9 wins is going to make the playoffs. This would have been easy for him to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Exactly.
Karma's fighting him right in the ass.
He's the first to complain about everybody else, and he never pins it on himself. And it's just a messed up
had more wins.
Exactly, Zach Wilson. Sometimes it's the organization. Maybe Zach isn't as bad as he
probably not.
He's been made out to be, but he's ruined that organization, and I think. Next year, they either got to eat the salary cap like we did with Wilson, but I don't see him coming back.
Do you play him the rest of the year?
What?
Do you ever sit him at any point?
You don't sit. You can't sit him.
You can't. Right?
There is a little
injury clause.
But there is some sort of respect factor to where he is one of the greatest ever. And you don't sit him if this could be the last year of his career. You're not making the playoffs, so let him play the rest of his career. So me and my friend were talking the other day. And we were talking about who are the greatest Jets quarterbacks of all time. And when you go down that list, it's like Joe Namath, and then you like go
Dominate.
like
That's true.
Ken
You go-
O'Brien was good for a while.
Testaverde.
Ken O'Brien was good. He brought
Mark Sanchez might be third on that list, and that's really
sad.
weird.
Oh my God.
And then when does Ryan Fitzpatrick come in? Does he come in fourth?
He wasn't bad.
Because he almost got them to the playoffs.
They've never had the name.
So we were talking about that, and we were
And
like,
this is New York.
Aaron Rodgers was brought in.
At least the Giants had Sims.
Like,
They had a lot
is
of
Zach
good
Wilson
quarterbacks.
5? Like that. Like we were talking about that.
Wow,
Like,
that's a
where
good
does he
point.
come? Where do we get to? Like, on most teams of all time,
Smith.
Gino. They had,
And
but
look
Gino's
what Gino-
horrible there.
but
But
I know,
they've
look
done
what
that.
happened.
Well, maybe it was the organization.
But you go down the list, and in most teams, Zach Wilson's going to come in at like 20 on your all-time quarterback, and Zach Wilson might come in at like 8 on the Jets all-time, which is really weird. But I just thought that was funny. I thought that was really funny. Like we were just thinking, like who's good? Who's good for the Jets? And Joe Namath was good, and like way for. So I thought it was funny. So the Jets are in a way better position than the Broncos were with Wilson because they like, and not that the Broncos didn't, but the Jets, instead of doing what Rodgers wanted in the draft, they were kind of responsible and they took a tackle. Yeah. So they still, if they eat the cap, they only had 1 year of Rodgers ruining them. So you eat the cap next year, and then you maybe pick a quarterback this year. You might be bad enough to
They're
get a
a top
quarterback.
10 draft.
Pick.
They're guaranteed they're going to be in the top 10.
So you can get a quarterback in that top 10.
Yeah.
And a report came out earlier this week that Rodgers is not going to be back next year. That
Maybe they take
No,
that
yeah.
and they eat like.
I don't think they're going to eat it. I would do that
I'm
if
going
they
to
would
make
eat
a
it all.
prediction in the offseason. They'll trade Devontae Adams
Oh, yeah.
for a
You have
first or
to.
a second, maybe a second round.
I don't think they get a
That
first.
was
though.
great.
Maybe a second round pick and just get rid of him. He doesn't want to be there if he's not there.
Well, he doesn't want to be anywhere, it seems like.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that's scary, and they reported this, that because Woody Johnson is probably not going to be the owner in a couple months, because he's going to be an ambassador, they get to get rid of Woody Johnson, but Woody Johnson seems to be trying to make all the decisions before he leaves. So they fired Douglas the other day. He's already searching for a GM. He wants to be the person to find the coach and find the GM, which is not ideal if you're a Jets fan. I still think firing Saleh made no sense. Like, I don't think he's a great coach, but I thought it was a great scapegoat, and it was never his fault. It felt like
Well, I seem the defense looks worse when he's not around than it was when he was actually there.
he may not have been a great coach, but he was clearly good with the defense. Sauce Gardner's been horrible.
Horrible.
Like,
Sure.
so you were dependent on your defense, and they're doing nothing. And you were hoping your offense could be a little better, and they're doing nothing. It feels like there's no way to kind of talk about what's gone wrong. Everything at once has gone wrong. No unit looks good. And we thought obviously that they were good coming into the year, like at least better than this. And when the Broncos beat them, I was like, oh, maybe the Broncos are really good, which you guys seem to be. But now I'm looking at them now, and I'm going, the Jets are really bad. Like they're not a good football team. They can't hold Indy.
Penalties. They're a really, really bad team.
And it wasn't a good offseason like people thought it was. Like Tyron Smith, like he's a dinosaur. He's gonna fall.
And they haven't had the toughest schedule, so
No.
you can't say, oh, they had.
They've lost to bad teams.
Yeah,
Like,
they
haven't.
a lot of games that.
And I thought they were gonna go 12-5. Like I was one of the people who picked them to win the division.
I thought they'd be right there, but.
And it felt like I guess not everyone's Brady, but I didn't think Rodgers would look this bad. I thought he would look bad, like 25 touchdowns, 10 picks bad, but not what we're seeing. It looks like he's lost and he can't move.
No.
And so you get pressure on him. That's all you need.
Just remember, he's old and he had that bad injury.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly.
it hasn't been much more than a year since he injured it, and that's a tough injury for anybody, let alone a 38-year-old, 38-year-old quarterback playing football. That's a tough injury.
But to think he was thinking last year about coming back later in the season. He was talking on the McAfee show about how he's healed quicker than anyone. Like,
yeah, I know.
So it makes it look even more ridiculous.
But see, when he's like Jerry Jones, when he's out of the limelight, he wants to be in the limelight, so he talks, so people listen.
And he begs people, like it's so weird because he'll tell people, "Stop talking about me. You guys just make up whatever you want," and then he'll throw himself right back in there. And after every game, it is the most annoying thing to me to see him stand at the press conference and do that whole like puts a hat on. He's talking while he's looking down at the ground. He's doing the whole pitiful me thing.
And
He's
nobody's
so
gonna
annoying.
Feel sorry for him.
No one feels sorry for him except
Green
for
Bay
Packer
is probably
fans.
laughing at him.
Yeah,
Green Bay is probably.
and they should have
laughing.
got rid of him
Years
before they got rid of him. They would have got so much back.
And that's what gives me, again, Kirk Cousins had the same, bad injury.
Yeah.
He's playing well.
Yeah.
He's not moving around.
Yeah, but he's
still
looks
playing
good.
well. He looks a lot better than Aaron Rodgers.
Way
does
better.
at his age.
And there's a lot of people who thought Rodgers would play like MVP Rodgers, and those people were never correct and I hope they're seeing how dumb that thought was.
And they've got nothing out of him in 2 years. He
Nothing.
was hurt the first. I
All that money
for
for
all that
3
money
wins.
for nothing.
3 wins.
And he's looked like it's not like Joe Burrow we were talking about. Like
Yeah, right.
Joe's like looked really good. Like Rodgers, watching him, just eye test in general, it's
He
nothing.
doesn't
like-
look right. He doesn't.
No,
look right.
and-
when you watch a game, it doesn't look like.
And I don't think he really cares that much either. Like he wanted to be RFK's vice president. Like going into this year,
Once he's not the same. Once he's not
And
the
he would have
savior.
made it.
he was gonna he wanted to be the vice president. Like he wanted to be on Jeopardy.
That's exactly.
It's
It's all
everything
about
else.
him. It's all about him.
he is
You know what? When he didn't want to play that offseason, the teams are kissing his ass. You know what? If you don't want to play, don't play. Sit at home. Don't go into a dark room
Oh,
my
and sit and
God.
think about, how much money do I need to retire? Just quit.
If a player is thinking about retirement, has to go and sit in a dark room for a couple days,
Retire.
I don't want you on my team.
Right.
You
Right.
clearly don't want to be here that bad.
Yeah.
I feel like he just wants to be there to be on the McAfee show on
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
that's
I think he just wants to be able to talk.
Yeah.
And so it's annoying.
If he's the only one to put up with him.
McAfee for some, and I love Pat, but the worst day of the week is when McAfee has him on his show because it's so beneath Pat to me. Like I love watching McAfee. I think he's funny.
Well,
I think he's
he was
smart.
fine when he was good, but right now, like the last 2 years, it's a waste having him on.
But I mean, they got lucky because they got AJ Hawk on the show and he brought Rodgers. It was a huge thing when it happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
But then it became like every week we're getting a soundbite from that show where Rodgers saying something stupid every week. So I'm a massive Rodgers hater. He was the first person to make me cry in sports. The Dez catch and then the Jared Cook catch 2 years later.
Yeah.
I wish nothing but bad upon him football wise. I don't want to see him succeed in
He's
football.
only got one ring.
He's only got one, and that I used to be a huge Rodgers fan, by the
Got
way.
one.
Yes, you were.
I loved Aaron Rodgers because he was so good.
He throws the nicest ball. In his day, he threw the perfect pass.
I used to
He was
sit over
way
there.
better
And,
thrower than Brady.
wait,
Like,
he was
his pass.
he's
Oh,
the
yeah.
best. He's the
Yeah,
best
trust
passer
me.
I've ever seen.
He was going to his right and threw a 40-yard bomb to beat us at the last second.
He is the greatest passer
Remember
of all
when
time
that
to me.
Field goal up.
He's the
throw
greatest
him in the-
passer of all time.
Honestly, he is.
I've never seen anything
Throw him
like prime
and
Rodgers.
against his going the other way across your chest. He
And it's not like he was just a crazy athletic guy and he would make everything work.
just had arms.
People forget the play before that Jared Cook throw. We sacked him for a 6-yard loss. We had him on his arm and he tucked like he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a great court, but it is almost sad to see him go.
He
out
should
this way.
retire. He should go
Retire.
out
Do not
now.
do one more.
Yeah, don't do another.
He should have retired after
He's
our
got
last.
some money.
Someone before we move on to the next topic, someone actually showed the picture of his last game at Lambeau when he lost to the Lions.
Yeah.
And he had his arm around Randall Cobb,
I
and they
thought it
walked
was
out.
it. I thought it
And
was
that should have been the last picture of Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Walking
And
out
he
of
ruined
Lambeau
Yeah.
in a place he built, really.
That's why I,
And at
don't,
least
I hate when
Brady and
players do
Peyton
that.
went out. I mean, won a Super Bowl with a second
Hey.
team.
Peyton got lucky though.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't because
Peyton
of
almost went out
No,
really
no.
bad.
No, but he did what he had
Yeah,
to
I
as a
know.
general
Yeah.
just to get them through, and they won.
And that's why I think Favre would have been nice going out at Lambeau Field as well.
Yeah, that's how it should have been.
At Lambeau Field is, it's a special place. You're a quarterback. You're on your end. Just call
Brady
it
went
clear.
out with playoffs, championships. Peyton was 4 weeks, like 5-6 weeks removed from almost being the guy who went out as a backup
Right.
to Brock Osweiler.
Yeah,
Remember, so he got really lucky that everything came back. Not really. He didn't play great in that Super Bowl, but
No.
yeah, it's sad. On one hand, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. He is way too great to go out looking like this. All right, our next topic, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos. I never thought we would talk about the
Guys
Broncos.
right here.
I actually did not think I'd
Yeah,
probably
bring
talk
Rob
about it.
back on.
Gotta get him back on.
When we were talking before the season, there was not one time I thought we were talking about the Broncos by themselves. Maybe like an AFC like division type of thing. Never would have thought we were talking about the Broncos. So I'm happy for you.
I'm going to first start by saying shame on Vegas. The Denver team win total was 5.5 for the year. They had them down with Carolina and all the other horrible teams. Last year they won 8 games with bad quarterbacking.
Yeah.
The team was young. They had players, and you make it 5.5. They have talent
Great
at every
defense.
position. Their
Great
defense is
I
unbelievable.
hope people hammered the over then.
Well, 5.5. They had them with Carolina and stuff, and they had a last place schedule.
If you hammered the over on the Broncos and the under on the Cowboys, you made a lot of money.
They didn't even go to American
You made a lot of
He
money.
really flipped this, haven't
You
he?
made a lot of money this year.
And not a lot of people watch the Broncos games, but man, their defense is unbelievable.
Lot
They
of
got
fun.
about 5 guys that should be in the Pro Bowl. Zach Allen, by far,
Yeah, he's good.
They got John Franklin Myers from the
New
Jets.
York.
They got DJ Jones on the defensive line. They got 2 great pass rushers that you need. They got Nick Benito on one side, Jonathan Cooper.
Best
you got
corner in the
Sertan
league,
and McMillan on the corners. They can blitz whenever they have to. and Cody Barton, who's just unbelievable linebacker, man. He come
He's a
out of
god.
nowhere. When Alex Singleton got hurt early in the year, towards knee, he's out for the year. I thought, that's going to – Cody Barton has been unbelievable.
We just kind of moved around.
They
so quick,
play,
too.
yes, they play fast. The offense now, he brought them along slow. Peyton, he brought them along slow. The first few games, you're playing Pittsburgh's defense. The
it was
Jets
tough.
defense back then.
Seahawks
He was playing
defense.
Seahawks defense in Seattle his first
Yeah.
game. The last 4 or 5 games, I mean, he has been lights out. They're throwing the ball further. The receivers are starting to get open. Vele is playing very good for them.
Yeah.
Sutton's in the mix. They got 3 running backs. They got tight ends that can catch. Sean Payton puts them in a position to get yards and win.
Yeah.
And what a difference it's made the last month, just offensively, has been unbelievable.
He has been good.
And this is what scares me, is because I got friends that are Raiders fans, and you know what? No matter how bad the teams are when they play each other,
Division.
They're good.
it's a
Yeah.
division game on the road in Vegas. This one scares me. If they get by this one, which they should, but if they get by it,
Yeah.
playoffs are bomb.
Their last 3
I'm
games are-
excited
The
for
last 3 games are hard, but they got Cleveland and Indy at home back to back. They could be 9-5 going in the last 3 games against at Cincy, at the Chargers, and
You could beat
Chiefs
Cincy.
and the Chiefs at home, which now
You
it
almost
looks like
beat the Chiefs. You
now.
beat-
But now it looks like the Chiefs gonna have to win that game to get home field advantage. in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
oh,
They'll
yeah,
have
that's
to
gonna be
play
tough.
everybody. But that doesn't scare me. So we just need Indy to lose. The AFC is very weak at the bottom.
At the-
It goes from this to
Yes.
And you've got hope for next year, too. Like, that's the thing. You guys,
this is a franchise quarterback. I mean, he's going to get the money. He deserves the money. Sean Payton's shown why he's a really good coach.
He just needed
Again,
his
now,
players.
he needed the players. He rebuilt that team in 2 years. So
he
again,
did what he wanted to
you
do.
can get rid of money, have salary
yeah.
cap problems. They have so many guys that are on contracts that maybe in a year or 2 they're going to get money. But
maybe you guys got some notes you could hand over.
very,
Give them
very,
to Jared.
No.
very smart.
We
And
don't
I'm
wanna
glad
do
for the new owners. Finally, they went through hell since they bought the
Well, yeah.
team.
They had,
So, it's kind of fun watching the games, but this is the best team by far they've had in 8 years.
I was gonna say.
They're fun to watch. They won't get blown out. I just hope this week that they can dig down deep, beat the Raiders. They beat them earlier this year, but they lost to them 6 in a row. So this is the one that can really put them over the edge. But again, he's playing great, and it's fun to watch.
I'm excited for you because I don't feel that excitement watching football. So it's fun. Again, I'm not a big Bo Nix fan. He's played really good. I'm not gonna say he hasn't played good. He's probably the rookie for me. He's rookie of the year. I have him over.
for sure.
I got him.
I have him over Daniels. He's still, when I look at the draft, how I would draft it was Caleb. I would have had Drake.
Oh yeah,
second,
I wouldn't have
Jaden
drafted him
Tebow.
higher than that.
And all my buddies get mad at me when I say this too, but and he's very good, but I just never draft 24 and not special. It obviously worked, and I think Peyton looks like he's kind of like Breeze, and I think Sean Payton loves that.
The difference is he looks ready.
He's ready. He's the
Caleb
most
Williams
ready.
is young.
So Bo Nix was the most
and
ready
he does-
quarterback.
Yes.
What scares me about most ready quarterbacks was I was very high on another quarterback who was the most ready quarterback. It was Mac Jones, and he was the most ready quarterback in that draft.
They
But
have
Matt
always
couldn't
run a
move.
bad offense.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
he doesn't move.
And
Bo
Matt
Nix
couldn't move.
can
That's the
move.
difference with Bo Nix. That's why there's more hope for me with Bo Nix. But coming into the draft, I said it reeks of a Mac Jones pick. It actually has looked like a Mac Jones pick because Mac Jones was really good in week 1. I mean in year 1.
he
So
was.
maybe I'm sorry, but I just fear with Bo Nix is after this year, how much better does he get? What's his ceiling at?
You know what it is, and if you watch him, and if you talk to anybody, if you watch him play, he has the fire where he wants
always
to be
had
the
that.
best.
He's always had
been like that at Auburn
Yeah.
and at Oregon. He wants to be the best. He wants to win. It doesn't look like he's going to say, "Oh, I had
No,
one
never.
good year. You
Never.
know, I don't have to train in the off season." He wants to be great, and you could see it, and you could see the players, and even
They're
the
like-
coach is surprised at how he's come by. I mean, the receivers love the guy.
Yeah.
He's first one in practice and
He's a run
he
through the
doesn't
wall
take
guy.
Yes, he doesn't take nothing for granted.
Yeah. So it probably
Makes him a good leader.
it probably turns into a good pick. I'm the guy who loved Josh Rosen, who thought he was the best
Yeah, I
quarterback
do
in the
too.
draft.
I do
So
too.
I've been wrong many times.
Look what we've had the last 8 years.
You guys
Just
have-
think of what
you
we've
guys
done
have
the
had-
last 8 years
Yep.
trying for a quarterback.
That's the thing.
Embarrassing.
I think you guys have finally I don't think Bo Nix is bad. I think his ceiling is good, where I think Caleb's ceiling is generational. So I think Bo Nix can be and I think that's what you need in the NFL, just a good quarterback. That's what Purdy is, and they get to.
And it's
Exactly.
always what you think he is, Phil. And you're saying you think the other guys are better. He's going to use that as fuel.
That's
Maybe.
exactly
Maybe.
how he
So,
is. That's exactly
That's
what
how he is. But I think everyone's. I never overreact or underreact to year one. Like everyone's overreacting to Caleb, like who started slow. I'm like, give him like one more year and like an actual offensive minded system, and I think Caleb's gonna be like unreal.
Oh,
like,
he's got the
top
talent. There's no
quarterback.
doubt, but they need better coaching and
Need to get rid of Eberflus and
they
get
need
an offense coach.
Again, they could have.
King, that's who they're looking at for next year now.
He was sitting there.
I would have taken
Washington
him too.
got him.
I would have taken
He
him
was
too.
sitting right there. They could have got him. So
So
you know?
it's like that for me. I love Sutton. He's always been underrated. I always wanted him to be a Cowboy because there was always those.
And they were going to
rumors.
trade him. In the
That's
offseason.
the thing. I've got him on my fantasy team. He's been very good for me.
Sertan's worth every penny. He
That's-
got. That's
Yeah. Glad you didn't
24
get
million a
rid of him.
year. Yeah, exactly.
Watching that draft, I don't know if you remember, we were projected to take him,
Yeah.
and I started freaking out when you guys took him, and we took Parsons. I was so upset, and I'm now
Well,
I'm happy.
Carolina
But
took
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn.
So the two guys I wanted
Yeah, J.C.
were
Horn.
gone by the time we got there.
Yeah.
But I think you guys are a good team, and it doesn't seem like overly like star power. It's just everyone is doing their job.
They're talented.
That's the thing.
They're good at every position, and so far the injuries have been
That's
few
the
and
thing.
far
That's
between.
huge.
So that's gonna be the offensive line is playing dynamite this year, and they spent a lot of money on it in the offseason, and they've drafted well. That Quinn Minner he's
Yeah, he's a good
unbelievable.
guard.
You guys want to trade for Guyton? He's doing
Yeah, you
it.
guys want to
Yeah,
tackle?
no,
You guys want to try to
Just need that.
We'll give you guys
He
whatever.
played
I'd be
for
shocked.
St. Mike's.
I'd be
Yeah,
shocked
no.
if they didn't make the playoffs.
think
I'm
it
hoping
will.
last year they had no business being in the playoff drive, and they lost that game to Pittsburgh or whatever, or to New England.
I was watching that game.
And this year, if they can win this game this week,
Well, you're way more steady at quarterback this year. That's the thing. I like Russ in Pittsburgh. I think but like, it just seems like Bo. Even like, I think he's already better than Russ. But it just seems like he's better with the system. And again, the reason Sean Payton fell in love with Bo Nix is there was like this Drew Brees thing where he's like sneaky athletic,
he looks
and
like him.
and he looked really good last week. Like it wasn't just like
Oh yeah.
he looked good. So
He was throwing the ball. He's throwing.
that's the thing.
At
He
the
did
beginning of the
Oregon.
year, he was missing open guys. He might have been a little.
Probably
Pumped. He
nervous.
gets too pumped up
Yeah.
sometimes, so you gotta calm him down. But he'll do anything to win.
Every sports show is all over him this week.
Yeah, I
My
know.
biggest fear about him coming in the year was that he didn't pop until he was around a star-studded cast at Oregon, and he's doing it not around a star-studded cast, and he's doing it really well.
But there's the great thing about college football with the portal.
Portal, yeah.
Auburn is not a throwing team.
And yeah,
they're
you
a
got to
running
fill it.
team. It's a conference. It's harder. He went to Oregon. Perfect system for him.
Yeah.
And if you watched the Denver game last week, they're throwing those
Yeah.
5-yard passes and
indeed.
letting the receivers go and getting the blockers out. That's exactly how Oregon runs the offense. So it's the offense for him.
And your receiving core is pretty underrated. And you drafted his buddy Troy Franklin,
Franklin.
who was
Yeah,
his
he's
duo,
got-
and he's had a
he's
couple
getting
issues,
better.
but he's getting better.
A few drops.
He was
but
one of
he's-
my favorite receivers in the draft.
Really? I
so.
mean, they're doing well. But,
It'll be-
again, if they get a star receiver next season, be even better.
I think just a couple more moves, and you guys become like a really good team in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City don't scare me anymore. Put it
No,
that way.
they scare me when it comes to the playoffs.
Playoffs is different.
Not right now, and that is going to get us to
Well,
our
wait,
next.
before you go any further, is he almost leading the league in interceptions? He's right up there. He's got 11.
Holmes up there.
He's up there. this
Yeah,
year.
he was up there.
11. If
He's
Dak
pressing.
Prescott had 11, he'd be right at this point. They'd be crucifying him. But he's got 11, and nobody seems to care. Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
because they
A
win.
little
That's
bit.
why. But
I
they
know.
win. So
I was gonna say
it's up for
9-1.
everything.
All right, let's talk about the favorite in the AFC because you said it, and it's true. They're top heavy, and it seems like the middle anyone can get there, which is the opposite of the NFC. So who do you think is the favorite in the AFC right now?
Well, again, that was a great game, but again, you don't. If you're the Bills, you don't want to be the team of October, November.
Yeah.
Which they usually are.
You can beat Kansas City every year in October, November. When you beat them in January, that's when it matters. I even think Kansas City realizes that. It was a hell of a game. Come down to the one play. I'll give Buffalo credit for going for the touchdown. Again, you don't want to give that guy the ball at the end of the game. I'm a little embarrassed at Baltimore that, come on, how they lost. They're stupid. Before the half, they just took the lead. They got a 7-6 lead. They're at about their only 15-yard line. Just down the ball or run out the clock. He throws a pass. The guy fumbles the ball. Pittsburgh gets a field goal.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the game. Tucker missed 2 field goals. I think Baltimore, to me, is the scariest team.
Yes.
But they can't beat
Put it all
good
together.
teams. They can't. Somebody was saying on TV, the games they lose, he's throwing 35 passes a game. They gave up on the run against
I
Pittsburgh.
got a lot about that.
I mean, the game against Kansas City last year in the playoffs was proof. You're a running team. I don't care you went and got receivers. You're a running team. You have Derrick Henry. You got Lamar Jackson. You have to run the ball 30 times a game, 35 times a game. You have to play, especially when their defense isn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
You know? Buffalo has to catch Kansas City, to me, for the number 1 seed.
But it
to beat them in the
seems to
playoffs.
not matter because then Kansas City went to Buffalo last year.
No, but I think in Buffalo's mind.
Yeah. You can't go to Arrowhead.
I don't think Kansas City cares.
No.
I mean,
not anymore.
They lost. They were down 2. They gave up a touchdown at the end of the game.
Yeah.
No big deal. Kansas City know how to win in the playoffs. The schedules are pretty much even. You know, Buffalo's got, again, they bye this week, and then they get San Fran at home on a Monday night. Their 2 toughest games are at the Rams and at the Lions. Would be an unbelievable
That'll be
game.
That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, that'll be. I hope that's a prime time game.
Their last 3 are easy, Bills.
But they got New England twice. So,
New England always plays them tough, though. They beat them last year.
I don't know if Carolina's
Drake
going to
May?
beat Kansas City this week.
Yeah, that might be a big game.
But, no, I think whoever has that, and again, if Denver make the playoffs, it wouldn't bother me one bit if they had to go to Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah,
that would be
scared.
the best scenario for Denver. It would be if you
And
made
Pittsburgh
the
would be
playoffs,
tough, though.
You go. Even the Chargers
Denver
are
plays
probably
them.
thinking it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
If we got to go to Pittsburgh or whatever, but I think the AFC is too lopsided now, and it's sad that there's a lot of bad teams. I think Miami would have been good too if Tua wasn't
Tua
hurt.
stays. Yeah.
So I think if Tua wasn't hurt, Miami could make they have an easy schedule for a playoff run. I'm still not sold on the Chargers. They just don't turn the ball over. They're a good team.
Yeah,
They beat
it's
a
good.
lot of bad teams.
Yeah.
They're well coached. Herbert don't throw picks.
This year,
That's
especially.
very smart this year. They're
looks
playing, again, they have no home field advantage.
None.
You know, so again, they're a decent team, but I think it's wide open. And to me, even Baltimore playing on the road, if they realize that they have to run the ball at Kansas City or at Buffalo, I think they could scare them too.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Buffalo gets to home field, if they don't get to the Super Bowl this year with home field, if they get home field advantage,
Then we got to have a Josh Allen.
it's kind of I sort of jinxed him, but do you see anything different?
It would be time to have a Josh Allen talk if they don't win it this year. It's already time to have a Lamar Jackson talk, but
Yes.
it would be even more. I've never seen an MVP that when they throw the ball, we're like, they can't win when they throw the ball. He is not like, I like him, and I've always rooted for him because people rooted against him. But he can't be that good if when they lose games, we point to it's because he threw the ball too much.
ESPN hyped him up for years, way too much.
Like, he's good. I love Lamar, and he's had a great
He's a
year.
very good player.
He did not deserve an MVP last year.
He's
but
always had a
should
great
this year.
defense.
That's the thing.
He stole that from Dak.
That's the thing. That'll always bug me that he got it last year and he was mediocre. He wasn't mediocre, but he was good. But I mean, the Chiefs game in the playoffs right after, we were like, well, it's because they threw the ball too much. But so the MVP threw the ball too much.
Exactly.
That's weird. So, but let's stop trying to prove people wrong on Lamar Jackson and let's just play to our strengths. He is the greatest running quarterback of all time.
Yeah, that's
So you have one of the greatest one of the most dominant running backs of all time. So use them and run the ball with them. Option plays should be one of the most fun plays to run when you are calling it for
in the
Derrick
NFL.
Henry or Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Like
defensive end.
how difficult is that? You have to choose,
can't.
is it going Henry or Lamar?
They're too fast.
That's the thing.
You can't do it.
So use it, and then you have guys like Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and Isaiah Likely out of nowhere, who, when you are throwing the ball, you can catch people off guard and get a big play.
And for years, they were winning games 13-10 because their defense
Defense
was
is amazing.
dominant. Now their defense stinks, and they're 7-4. They could have easily lost 2 games to Cincinnati.
That was blew against us.
They're 7-6.
They very close to blew it against us.
Yeah, but they could be
they
7
are.
They could be 6-5.
That's the thing.
They could be.
No one in the NFL scares me this year besides the Lions. Like, there's no one I look at and I'm like, this team's unstoppable. The Lions are unstoppable. If the Lions don't win the Super Bowl, I hope they don't. If they don't make it there, like, that team's cursed. But the Chiefs are my favorite in the AFC because I looked at Mahomes' stats the other day in the playoffs, and it almost feels like he doesn't care in the regular season anymore. Like, the team doesn't care until the fourth quarter. His fourth quarter stats are amazing: 70% completion, 5 touchdowns, no picks, and then the rest of the way it's mediocre.
But see, when Mahomes was winning early in his career and they had to win 35-31,
Yeah,
what did they do? They went and bulked up their defense. Now they have a good
they don't have a
defense.
good offense.
And they don't have to score 35 points, so it makes it easier for
Absolutely.
them. So if you see your problem as a team, do it. Baltimore's defense isn't that good. No. When you run the ball, it kills the clock. And you're going to get
they're
4 or
not
5 yards a pop with those guys.
And who this year has stopped Henry? Like
Nobody.
what team have you been like, oh, they figured us out? No one. They figured you out passing. Every year they figure you out.
Dallas stopped them.
We
Stopped them
we
from
did for
coming
a
to
minute.
Dallas.
We did him. Yeah.
Stopped them from coming to
But I'll tell you, Pittsburgh, they know how to play Lamar Jackson. They don't let him outside. They keep him to make him a passer. And when you do that with him, he's not going to beat you.
That's the thing.
You know, and then again, I think Kyler Murray's in that mold too. He's got to get better, but I think if
I think
keep him
Kyler's a
in
better
the-
thrower than Lamar.
Yeah, oh, by far, he's a better thrower. He's got a better arm.
Yeah.
But they always hype up Lamar Jackson. This, you know why? Because he didn't get drafted until 2010, and everybody. Well, there's a reason.
Because
He was a
people-
running
yeah, people
quarterback
don't want
in
his arm.
college.
And he has completely overperformed his draft spot, obviously. But you have to see it in the playoffs before. Like someone posted the other day, and it's true. If he gets a ring to his name, you can start to put him in the top 15, like top 20 all
Yeah,
time.
until he gets one.
But
I don't want to hear nothing.
as soon as he gets that ring, though, you start to like put him in the top 15, like top 20 all time. I do because of all he's done. But it feels like whenever he's in the situation where okay, now we need a play from you in your
not gonna
arm,
be.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I trust Allen more.
And they've
obviously.
had a lot of home playoff losses. They've
Yeah.
had a lot of where they're the 1 seed or the 2 seed, and they're bowing
Well,
out.
think of the ones they won.
lost to Tennessee one year.
That's his MVP or 2019.
Yes, come on.
And then the next year they beat Tennessee
Yeah, but
and they lost. I don't know. They might have lost to the Bills the next round. I forget who, but they've lost. Their 2 wins: Tennessee and Houston last year. Which was even like before.
that was before Houston got better.
Stroud had played good that
was
year,
his
but
first year.
no one thought they were going to beat the
Exactly,
Ravens.
yeah.
And so I don't hold Allen to a high standard when it comes to clutch moments in the playoffs. I've seen him do nothing. I would much rather have Allen on my team in the playoffs.
By far. There's no
Yeah, but
there's no comparison with those two quarterbacks.
I think it's
I don't care. Lamar.
I put
Allen
Burrow in
can
front
run.
of Lamar.
Allen is way better
Yeah.
of a quarterback.
I'll take Burrow over Lamar.
And he's got way
Mahomes.
more. He's got the heart that
Oh,
Allen
God,
has,
yeah.
man.
But I still haven't been impressed with Allen this
Lamar
year.
kind of looks like a baby on the sidelines sometimes. He sort of mopes on the sidelines. He's got the big hoodie on.
He's a
with
very
rain.
he's a front runner to me.
He just
in a lot of
got-
ways.
You know what? And again, with the going again, Henry, they did that to beat Kansas City because last year they never ran in the playoffs. If they don't
That's huge.
do it properly this year, they'll never do it.
And one thing I very much value in a quarterback is like stability. And so like when I see Mahomes walk on the field for a game-winning drive and he's like completely calm, and same with Allen, and people will hate this, but same with Dak. Every time I see Dak walk on the field for a
They
late
don't get
trade,
flustered, yeah.
he just walks on the field.
Yeah, he does.
There's that clip of him in Miami just like fixing his like pant, walking on for a 2-minute easy go down. We didn't win the game, but he scored. And every time I see Lamar walk on the field, I don't have that same feeling. I have like there's commotion, there's chaos, and there has to be some level of stability in your play calling too. Like where Lamar depends on things going wrong to make things happen.
If he has to throw at the end of the game,
It's not gonna
beat you,
happen.
It's not going to happen. That's the difference.
I don't trust him in a 2-minute drill where
Exactly.
you cannot run the ball.
If he can't run the ball and he's got to come down the field,
And it comes off
You
his
don't scare.
it comes off his hand weird too. Like I like Lamar a lot because I always went to the guys that people hated on. So I'm a LeBron fan, and people really hated on Lamar. But he also hasn't proven anybody wrong. And we are he was drafted in 2018. We're 6 years into his career, and he still has a problem throwing the ball. He's gotten better, but he still has a massive issue.
like I always say, it's a great name in baseball, Mr. October.
Yeah.
But when you're Mr. October in the NFL, that's not a good name.
That seems to be Josh. That seems
That's
to be
not,
Josh.
yeah, exactly. But that's not a good name.
Yeah.
You can never say anything like that about Mahomes. 'cause
No.
When the chips are down,
His playoff stats, like I told my buddy the other day, 41 touchdowns, 8 picks, 105 passer rating, and it's like a 74% completion altogether in his
He
career.
knows.
That's an MVP season.
and why could they have lost the last 2 games? Because he didn't have the ball at the end of the game.
That's the
Tampa
thing.
Bay the week before could have did the same thing, went for 2 before overtime. Don't give him a chance at the end of
When
the
he
game.
gets the ball, I don't care how bad he's playing.
What's name Baker's face when they lost
Yeah.
him?
Well, it's just when he
game's
gets the
over.
ball,
It's over. He knew it.
it's him and Brady are the only 2 guys where you just don't
You
want to
can
give him
say
the ball.
that. You don't give him the ball at the end of the game.
And Allen's great, but you don't think that
You
about
don't say
Allen.
that right now.
No, you don't.
You say that about Mahomes. His last 2 years have been mediocre and bad, and every time he gets the ball, you expect him to go win the game.
But one of
That's
you
how
guys
good he is.
last week
And
said-
honestly, you're exactly right. You expect him to win.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for something to happen.
Well, one of you guys last week said something about how like the first 3 quarters are nothing to him.
I mean, nothing.
And it's the same thing with the regular season. It's like we got to win just so we can get that. But for the most
I'm
part,
sure they want home.
yeah.
field
But,
advantage.
but it's like we're gonna win 10-12.
But really think about this. Kelsey has looked horrible. Mahomes has looked bad. The offense looks broken, and they're 9-1.
yeah.
Like you have watched the Chiefs, and they're thrown in our face. So even if you don't want to see them, you see them 500 plays on Instagram. They've looked horrible. Like Mahomes has not looked good, and they are 9-1.
Well, they're lucky. No ref has got hurt yet this year, so
Yeah,
they're
the refs
getting
are
the
excited.
same ref. So if the refs go down and
I'm
there's a
thinking
new
of
ref,
last week.
Someone
something
gets
might
hurt.
happen.
Someone gets hurt.
Always seems to happen in that fourth quarter. Things change.
That's what I thought in the Bills game was
Yep.
going to happen.
But the regular
Right.
season just does not matter to them at all. Like let's get to the playoffs, and then we'll go win.
They don't even care if they got to go on the road. Last year they went on the road.
Did it look like
That proved it, yeah.
Did it look like after the game Mahomes was upset at all that they won? When he went up to Allen, it was like whatever. 9-1 doesn't
They always beat
matter.
us during the year. We don't care.
They do it every damn year.
But they expect those games when they play each other. Those two guys expect
So much fun.
whoever has the ball at the end of the game.
It's
is
so
gonna
much
win
fun.
The game. They know it. They're two great players. So
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's our Brady and Manning for the next 10 years, hopefully. Well, we're close to Mahomes 27 now, 28. So we got about 7 more years of them. Hopefully Allen can stay healthy. But to put the end, my favorite in the AFC is still the Ravens. Just because I don't know how you stop that offense
if they do it right,
if they do it right, and they have to do it right. John Harbaugh seems to be very overrated as a coach, but they're dangerous.
and again, running, it's going to be cold weather no matter
That's the
where they
thing.
play. So run the ball.
You're either going to
Buffalo,
Buffalo,
Kansas City,
Kansas
Baltimore's
City.
cold.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I mean the
it's so
Steelers are
warm
on top of your
weather.
division right now. So if you go to the
That's exactly.
and the Steelers are a lot better than I thought. Their offense isn't, but that defense could win
They
you
got a
couple
great
games.
kicker. They're lucky.
Boswell's
He's
a good
very
kicker, and they got stability at coach. TJ Watt's a game changer. The defense just seems to get everybody. So it's the AFC is a lot of fun, a lot more fun than the NFC. The NFC's got like the lower teams that are fun. The Lions are going to run over everybody. The AFC, it seems like anybody could beat anybody, which is fun. As if someone doesn't
That's
have
what
their
they
team
want.
anywhere in
That's
it,
what they want.
it's fun to watch that. All right, we are going to make our pick of the week. I got to check my pick again. I forgot it.
What
But
about the Thursday game?
tonight's, I guess Thursday.
Thursday night game, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I'm going to take Pittsburgh 6-3. 3 field goals.
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh. That makes sense.
I just hope Deshaun's on the sideline. I hope he's not having a massage tonight. At least go to the game.
Like,
Since this one doesn't count against our actual play of the week, I'm going Cleveland just to be different.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Me too, that's why. That's more for when I see it. But now we got to do our real pick of the week. So I'm going to give you guys the standings as of today. Reg is at 3-4. Oh no, sorry. You picked the Broncos last week.
Yeah.
So you were 3-4. So now you're
4-4.
4-4. Evan, you were 5-2, and the Bengals.
yeah, I mean, that's what
They
that's
beat the spread.
No.
You lost that one. So
Lost.
5-3, and I picked Baltimore.
Oh, boy.
I was 6-1. Did Baltimore beat the spread?
No, they lost.
But yeah, because they were favored.
They were
They
favored.
were favored. So I'm 6-2. I didn't even look at this until today.
Oh, right.
So it's 4-4, 5-3, and 6-2. So you got to make your picks, Rich.
Well, I won the last 2. I'm hotter than Mike McCarthy's
See,
seat. So I'm going to, we've been talking about it all day. I don't think the Chargers are that good. Baltimore can't go to the Chargers and lose. There's no home field advantage with the Chargers Monday night. That's all
Good
you're going to
fun
hear
game.
is the Harbaugh. I think Baltimore, Chargers are beat up on a lot of bad teams. I'm going to take Baltimore -3. They have to win this game or they're completely out of first place.
I'm gonna go Bears +3.5 over the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are that good, and I think Sam Darnold looks like very mediocre to bad. So I'm gonna go Caleb revenge game. He's had 2 games just ripped from under him, Hail Mary and missed field goal, which sucked. So I'm gonna go Bears +3.5 against the Vikings.
And I cannot see Indianapolis staying close whatsoever to Detroit. I think Detroit will destroy them.
That's -10.
7.5.
7.5?
No, well, on our pool.
Oh, it's -10 and
Supposed to be raining in Indianapolis.
yeah.
So I'm going. I'll take the Lions. There you go. Maybe we should have your buddy on next week.
Yeah, I
See if
don't
he'll
know.
come on talk
He's
Lions.
getting a little cocky over there.
Well,
Glad to keep
and
him
rightly so.
Can they
Glad to
possibly
keep him.
play an outdoor game one time?
Man, can they just take their starters out when they're up 40 against the Jags at some point, though? I seem to remember the Cowboys rolling like all these bad teams and getting crushed when we would take
It's
Dak
going
out
to
the
be
fourth.
sad if somebody gets hurt. It's going to be a
They
sad
have
day.
to take someone out.
The sad thing is they have 2 good running backs. Put the third guy in.
Yeah.
You don't want either one of those two
Take
guys
out Goff.
in.
Take out St.
Goff.
Brown. Take out everybody.
Take out all those guys.
It makes no sense to me.
He's begging to get hurt.
You know, it reeks of a team that's been bad for 20 years and is finally
But
good.
can't be
Coach has to
like
be
that,
Smart.
though.
That's right. He has to be
But you-
smart right now.
Because you know what
I know.
happens? Then teams put a bullseye
I agree.
on you. When you
Yeah.
start doing that, other teams watch
Listen,
games. They
yeah.
see what's going on.
We got crushed when we were beating the Giants by 50.
Yeah.
But we would take out Dak.
guys, I know.
There was a stat when Dak didn't play 5 fourth quarters in a row. We let him sit and he was still the
That
MVP
year we
candidate.
were on fire.
Yeah, last year he was still the MVP candidate.
Yeah.
And so take out Goff.
You have to take.
He's
these
already
guys.
threw 5 picks. His MVP campaign's over. Go. You have a freaking dash to the Super Bowl. Take all those guys out. And
They
make
lost Anzalone. That's going to be a big
That's-
loss for a
there's-
while. He's
there-
a great linebacker.
They've already lost Hutchinson,
And
Anzalone,
now
so and Zadarius Smith. So,
Yeah.
all right, go Commanders. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching Trash Talking.
I'm Reg.
I'm me. See you later.